Welcome to the podcast, The Story Behind the Song with Denny Carleton and Friends. On this podcast, you will hear stories, listen to archived interviews from Denny's previous radio show, The Cleveland Music Connection, and hear what Denny and his friends are up to now. So here is my favorite singer, songwriter, recording artist, author, music teacher, radio personality, Denny Carleton.
Hi, this is Denny Carleton. Welcome to the Cleveland Music Connection, Story Behind the Song. I'm a musician from the greater Cleveland area from the 1960s all the way till now, who around 2000 started doing a local radio show interviewing about one musician a week, sometimes two, for 7 years. So in 2023, I decided to have a podcast show with some of the archive interviews and also some current interviews and also some stories and some songs, talking about songs, the story behind the songs, and with the interviews from musicians doing music today. The show doesn't claim to be the total scope of Cleveland music, which would be a huge task. To me, my show was who I knew and what I felt and I saw. So I was inspired by Federico Fellini's movie Roma, where he begins by saying, "You've seen the documentaries of Rome, but now I'd like to show you the Rome I know." And he would proceed to show a politically incorrect but real version of Rome. So today the show is a collection of highlights with some of the colorful folks who have inhabited the land of Cleveland. The first archive interview I'd like to start off with would be with Alan Greene, legendary blues guitar player. Everybody knows Alan as that in the greater Cleveland area and also regionally as the great blues player. But he also spent some time with Humble Pie, which I found really interesting, and I'm going to play you some of that archive interview with Alan Greene.
You're the lead guitar player of Humble Pie. Now, how did that come about that you ended up being in Humble Pie? And Humble Pie evolved out of the small faces into Humble Pie. Humble Pie was Stevie Marriott, the original, who has passed away. Right. Peter Frampton, Jerry Shirley, and I don't remember. Ronnie Lane was in the face. I don't know who was the other person.
Greg Ridley was the bass player.
Greg Ridley. Okay. And then as the years went on, Humble Pie dissolved. Jerry Shirley moved to Cleveland, and Jerry Shirley, the drummer, has reformed Humble Pie for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And how did that happen?
Well, he ended up in Cleveland being on tour in between various incarnations of Humble Pie. He was touring with Badfinger, his old friend Joey Moland. Mm-hmm. They're old. Jerry's got old friends all over the world. Trust me.
That's nice.
He moved to Cleveland when he met the woman he ended up marrying, and he's been here ever since. He likes Cleveland, and so I got together with him on a night at the old Sahara Club.
So you met him at the
old Sahara Club in Willoughby Hills.
Yep.
And I jammed with him on stage, and we were just kind of grinning at each other. And I kind of was hopeful that he would respond to my style, feeling that he was familiar and comfortable with the way I played, as I figured I would be with his playing, knowing his history and all.
Right.
So he really did. We kind of locked into each other in all kinds of ways, and like I say, we're grinning away as we were playing. And then I did the same thing a second time. Where he just 2 weeks passed, and the phone rings, and he goes, "Alan, this is Jerry." I had a answering machine. He goes, "This is Jerry Shirley. I wonder if you'd be interested in doing a gig in Philadelphia, or Pittsburgh. I'm sorry." He says, "Let me know, my number, blah, blah, blah." So I called him back and played Pittsburgh in about 2 weeks after. I did a crash course via Detroit, where Charlie Hune, our lead singer, lives. And we got on the phone and did a lot of mental homework, and I studied up on the CDs and made sure I got all my parts correct. And I never rehearsed with him. We just went ahead and started doing gigs, and it stayed that way to this day. Well, of course, since then, it's become quite at home. I mean, I feel like it's just real comfortable, natural. Being in a band for 9 years,
How often does Humble Pie play out?
A few times a month. It's not a steady gig.
Yeah.
There's been times we've done a straight week, and then maybe a straight week another few weeks later. You know what I mean? But it's not a constant touring kind of a thing. It enables me to have my normal life and then do maybe anywhere between 2, 4, 6 gigs a month.
Yeah, let's hear a cut from Humble Pie, the first one that you were telling me about.
No, these are new original demos that we did in Detroit, Michigan, within the last couple of years. We haven't done anything further with him. There was something brewing at the time which looked like it might have resulted in a new recording deal and having an album, but it just didn't come to fruition. But these are a couple of tracks that we put together there with the current lineup of the band. That's been current now for some time.
So just let me hold you, ain't got nothing to fear. Oh, got a big old smile.
That was my interview I did with Alan Greene, legendary blues guitar player who had spent some time with Humble Pie. The next one I wanted to share with you, the interview, an archived interview, was with guitarist, singer-songwriter Carlos Alberto Calabrese, who was born in the beautiful city of Buenos Aires, Argentina. He spent most of his time in the United States, but he started playing around 11 years old. And through the years, he's played almost every style of music before setting out his true love, the Spanish guitar. Carlos performs extensively through the United States, displaying a strong Latin influence reminiscent of his Argentina heritage. Well, the interview I'm going to play is one with Fred Grupe and I, which is a legendary figure in Cleveland. He played in Abby Rodeo, The Girls, known as just this wonderful guy, peace-loving and fun-loving guy. And Fred hosted the radio show with me for a few years. And when we had Carlos on, we knew Carlos very well. Carlos was our friend, our buddy. And so we kind of bust his chops a little bit and have fun with him. And for fun, I brought in my friend Dr. Juan, who is also of Spanish descent, and he was going to say, kind of be a go-between between us. But the whole interview was really fun, and I think you get the spirit of what what it was all about with Carlos. And also you get to be exposed to his music, and you hear some fun stuff from Fred Grupe.
And we have a guest here today, and this is a man over on the right.
I'm starting to fall asleep here. Thank you.
This
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This
Thank
is
you.
Carlos Albert. Carlos Albert.
Yes, yes.
Let's turn the webcam on. Let all the women see Carlos
Please.
Albert. There it is.
Yeah, with my cap on here, everybody.
Yeah, this is Carlos Albert is on here with us, and
He looks like Antonio Banderas.
he is Antonio. He is. And Carlos, how are you, Carlos?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you very much. I'm doing pretty good.
Well, Carlos, since I've seen you, you've become a very famous person. I saw your face on the front page
Cover.
of the North Coast Voice.
Yes, it was there.
I saw
Thanks
too.
to, I think, I'll tell you, thanks to Kat, because Kat,
Cat Lily, he's talking
Cat
about
Lily
from the North Coast Voice.
It was a great interview, and I didn't expect to have a picture of that size on the front
You got to get
cover.
that thing laminated
It was
and
well
put it all over your
deserved,
walls.
Carlos.
It is.
It is well deserved.
It is.
For a long time, you've been playing Carlos Albert. If you haven't ever heard him, we're going to play some of his music. He's an awesome talent, and he's been playing locally for I don't know how many years. I mean, I don't.
Years.
I don't really know your total background. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your story a bit?
Well, first of all, I'm sick of not getting the recognition, so I finally got that. Really, come on.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Let's give it up
It's
for
about
Carlos. Put that
time.
Thank
webcam
you.
on it. There it is. Close-up shot.
Well, basically, I did everything that you did, Denny.
Yeah.
But it was a lot different.
Right.
So
Okay.
Anyways,
So when did you start playing, Carlos?
I started playing probably when I was it's maybe about 11 years old. My mother bought me a guitar. I don't know why. I think it's because I was interested. That's kind of fuzzy to me and all that. But I was leaning more towards the guitar than anything else. And so she went ahead and bought me a guitar. Thank God for that.
Was that in the United States or when you had the guitar? Are you?
Well, you can tell I've been here a long time with the way I talk. So,
Yes.
Yeah. So I've been here a while.
I thought you said it was in the Ukraine.
Are you from? Where are you from?
Sometimes I can't talk to this guy. I really can't. And when we're being friendly now, but believe me, we're not. Okay. So,
Okay.
anyways, no.
Carlos came in here with a chip on his
He's
shoulder.
very Iraq, man.
I don't
No,
understand.
I was born in Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Juan, would you help us here?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll
thank you.
translate.
Okay,
He was
thank
born
you.
in Argentina.
Okay, thank you. Translate for us,
How
Juan.
was that? In Buenos Aires.
Born
Go ahead.
in Buenos Aires. Yes.
Oh, now I understand.
Yes, in Argentina. And I came here at the age of 5.
5 years old is when you got here.
5 years old when you got
Yes.
here.
Got it.
Yeah. Anyways, my uncles, my great uncles, they used to be players. Okay, all right. They used to be players.
A professional guitarist?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say professional, but they did play. They did play for people for money.
That's professional to me.
Yes, that's right. Okay, there you go.
When you're broke, that's professional.
You're not
Loosely
supposed to talk to
defined.
him. You're
Oh,
supposed to
sorry.
give it to us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, Denny's laughing.
Did you have something else to say?
He's laughing
He's
laughing at my history.
Okay.
Oh man,
Denny, did you
That
have
hurts.
something you wanted to add?
There goes the monument.
They're talking to each other, and they're supposed to be
Ow.
translators.
He speaks my language.
Can we hear a song by?
Ouch.
How about if we hear a song by you, Carlos?
Yes,
We have a CD
that
of
would
your
be
music.
great.
Music
That
is
would
the
be great.
universal language.
Far and wide I search for something, blazing trails along the way. I've always been so daring, but nothing could prepare me like a muchachita on the day.
Listening to Denny Carleton's Cleveland Music Connection.
Yeah, so this is that was a little excerpt from the Cleveland Music Connection, and with the interview with Carlos Alberto. Carlos is all over on Facebook and also iTunes. You can get his music and hear it everywhere, and it's well worth it. He's fabulous, really. He's a great player, and we had a lot of fun with that interview. As Carlos told me, I asked him, "Is it okay to play that?" He goes, "It's a classic." So I really do feel that is sort of a classic interview. One of the other aspects of this show was we were going to do little stories behind songs, or I was going to do a story behind a song. So I want to tell you about one of my songs. You could download this or listen to this pretty much on YouTube and other places. It's called Telephone, and I've just noticed through the days that when I grew up in the 60s, if we didn't like something, we'd write a song about it, which I think it still does, but we've got such a divisive thing now that the song is then so obvious of where you're landing politically. But in the old days, instead of being frustrated and feeling powerless, we would write a song. In the 60s, when we wanted social change, quite often it wasn't always about politics. It's been said that the pen is mightier than the sword, and the play's the thing that turns the heart of the king. I wrote this song after being put on hold by the phone company, then being transferred to foreign countries to explain why I was overcharged. So here's just a little bit of Telephone.
You reached the office of Juliet and Sheen, so leave your number at the beeping impersonal machine. You will wait on the line and we will waste your time. We'll let the music play, we'll waste away your day. We'll wait for 15 minutes to hear what you will say. With a caller ID feature, we'll know it's
If you are interested in Denny Carleton's music, videos, or books, check out www.dennycarleton.com. The website is also full of music history, fun photos, and archived radio shows of Denny and his friends. All of Denny's music, videos, and writings are also available on YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, and other social media sites. Thanks for listening, and remember to support local music.
Yeah, so today we are on the Cleveland Music Connection, the story behind the song. We're going through some archive interviews. I have some really good plans about having people on with phone interviews of things that they're doing today, but I felt it was good to kind of like show like what some of the interviews had been like in the past on my show. This next one is one that I didn't expect. I had Jeff Varga on. Jeff Varga is still playing. Jeff Varga is a folk singer in the Northeast Ohio area. And he all I knew about him was that he was a folk singer, and then he was going to play a couple songs, and then I knew he was going to come on the show, play live a little bit, maybe have his CD to play, and that's all I know. And then Jeff started telling me this really interesting story, and then just like Carlo with the Carlos, it kind of broke down into mayhem and fun. And okay.
And this is Jeff Varga. Then I graduated from high school and I moved to New York. Attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and went to school there for 2 years, and then got involved in playing around town with just different folks in New York, backing up people, things like that.
You were talking earlier, and you said that, you said, well, yeah, that's when I was touring Norway. And I mean, how did that happen? What was the sequence? You got into a band and then you did a little tour? Or how did
this was kind of cool. They were going to start it was during the urban cowboy craze. Latter 70s.
Did you know that he turned?
I had no idea.
I did not know that.
I don't know if I could giggle here. Join in. Go ahead. It's fascinating.
I did not know that, Debbie.
Just jump in whenever you want.
Yeah, this is Debby Lewin, who is, they're good friends. I thought they didn't even know each other. Then Debbie.
Me and Debbie go way back. Let's talk about old times. Remember 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeff, you're
okay.
Let's go. So
latter 70s.
Your latter 70s in your life, and you're in New York City.
Right.
And
I bought a new ladder, and I was climbing up the charts. No, just kidding. Okay, what do we do? All right, they were going to start a television show like the Monkees, but have it a country western band. Okay.
He's really
so this was their idea.
A lot of different things.
Yeah, these producers were going to do this, so it was great.
I thought just a little acoustic guitar player, Okay.
I'm only 5'8".
Yeah, okay.
So I am kind of little.
Okay, so you're.
Let's not get personal, Dan.
Okay.
So they went around the city and they got between going to acting schools and clubs to see people sing and play and all that kind of stuff. They put together these 5 people. Said, all right, now we're going to send you on a tour. You're going to learn to be a band, because they wanted a real band. They wanted musicians, actors.
A Monkees country band from New York City.
Well, they would put together all these guys playing music, living in New York City.
Right, who are
and the
transient people from different areas.
And the hilarity ensues from there. And meanwhile, while we're at our 3rd tour of Europe.
Now, what's the concept of going and doing a European tour when you're
right.
I don't know, Jeff. I thought we were going to do a couple acoustic songs, and
you know what? Let me tell you,
I don't know.
Had the show taken off, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now, right?
All right.
I mean, that's why this was a well thought out plan. Can you tell?
Yeah. So you go to Europe to develop the country western Monkees TV band.
And while we were there, they called us up and said, by the way, we're not doing that anymore.
While you're in Europe?
Yeah. So the band said...
After your 3rd tour?
Yeah. So they're going so why... The band was saying, so why do we have to stay together?
Why did you tour Europe?
Because they wanted to get us out of the country. Kind of like, how the Beatles went to Germany, got their stuff together, and then they came back to Liverpool, and they were big hits. That's what was going to happen to us.
This is Jeff Varga doing...
Only What It Is.
Only What It Is.
Try to look ahead. Try not to look back. And I try to know. And I try to forget. But I know I've been done.
That was the interview I did with Jeff Varga. He's just another one of the colorful characters that's in Northeast Ohio. And one of the most colorful ones passed years and years ago was Dick Lurie. And Dick Lurie had Dick Lurie Music Studio in Cleveland Heights. He was from Dover, Ohio. He ended up studying the guitar with Segovia. He knew Mel Bay. He knew Mel Bay as a friend. Actually, the Mel Bay books, there was a guy named Mel Bay, and he knew Mel Bay. And Dick Lurie was very legendary. He was still playing the guitar and playing gigs. His wife was the curator of the art museum, which is Cleveland is the second rated art museum in the United States after New York. And so his wife was a curator, so he's very artsy, and he was very eccentric in a great sort of way, and quirky, and with all of the things that I kind of think makes Cleveland what it is, for better or for worse. So this is an interview I did with Dick Lurie. He just sort of rambles on about different topics, and I love him. He's a great guy. He would be, I don't even know how old he would be now. He'd probably be 110 years old or something, but he's an awesome guy. So here he is, Dick Lurie.
I'm here with Dick Lurie. And Dick Lurie is doing what he's been doing since he moved to Cleveland Heights in 1925. He's playing the guitar. And Dick Lurie of of the people that I've met in Cleveland through my years, is probably one of the most interesting personalities who has a lot to give. Hello, Dick Lurie. When did you start playing the guitar?
I started, I would rather say, when did I start music? And I started to play the piano when I was around 5. By the way, speaking of music, and you and I have spoken of that many times, when I was a kid, I was, say, a year old. My mother told me much later that I would never fall asleep unless there was some noise going on, like if she would be playing the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would fall asleep. Well, she couldn't play the piano all day, so she found out I would also fall asleep if she turned on the vacuum cleaner. Left the vacuum cleaner on.
So you started off as a playing musician or a teacher, or which did you start off with?
I think I always wonder why some people become professional musicians, some become part-time sideline musicians, some become hobbyists.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually the ability of all three of those departments is equal.
Yeah, someone has more time to develop.
No,
no,
they have more desire.
Okay.
But I've known people in high school. I remember one fellow, Robert Sharp was his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was a solo cornet player. He was an all-A student. He may have been on the football team, and he became a prominent attorney. Now I knew another fellow there who was a prominent violin player. He became a prominent French horn player. That was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up in the Cleveland Orchestra. Now, why did those two persons of equal ability...
Are you asking my opinion or my guess? Or are you
you
okay?
can answer. Who knows? My opinion, I will give you my opinion, that some people like to show off.
Mm-hmm.
And others are more modest.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Sharp happened to be a very quiet, modest person.
For me, don't you think some people have sort of a whatever they do this, there's almost a passion or something they almost have to release inside of them to. Don't you think some musicians are like that?
I like to think it's a noble cause.
I would like to think that.
Us, but I think really
we just like to show off.
I think it's a desire to show off. For instance, what sensible person would want to get in front of 2,000 people and play a precarious solo unless he loved to show off?
Mm-hmm.
And
unless he had that overriding passion that he wanted to.
He could stay home.
I keep trying to bring it up but you just want to show off.
You're trying to excuse yourself.
I'm trying to. I'm on trial here now.
Oh no, we've been taught to show off. Don't be a show off. Like that's an obscene thing to be a show off.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the great show offs. Douglas MacArthur was a show off. There were all sorts of celebrated intellects. Einstein, I think, was an intellectual show-off.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I never knew him, nor observed him. But why else would he have his picture in the paper so often?
Well, he did a lot of things, but okay.
Sure. I like to say things in a way. The only serious thing about what I say is to bring up subjects to think about.
Yeah.
How can I get you to think?
Hey, that was Dick Lurie. Thanks for listening to The Story Behind a Song, the Cleveland Music Connection. If you want to know more about myself or some of the shows or archives, join my mailing list at dennycarleton.com. And you get free stuff and you get notice of what's happening. Thanks a lot for listening. God bless you, everybody.